Hi guys, so in this video I wanted to talk about some of the processes that ATP is prerequisite for and is required for, just to give you an appreciation for how important it really is. So first one I wanted to talk about is cell division itself. So cell division, and cell division is basically either mitosis or meiosis. And mitosis occurs when you're just walking around. It's just it's your usual cell, like your skin cells,
or your stomach cells, or your kidney cells, or any of your usual cells.
it's all mitosis. But meiosis is sex cells, so gametes like sperm cells and egg cells. So these both require ATP, so you would not be here without these. So it's pretty important that ATP is there to ensure that cell division can happen. The second thing I wanted to talk about was transcription and translation, so just the production of proteins overall. So protein production, transcription, and translation. And transcription is when you have a DNA and you have an mRNA that uses this DNA as a template to code for a protein. So the entire process of protein production is an mRNA coming over to this DNA, using it as a template. And what would happen specifically is there are 4 types of nucleotides in DNA. So A, C, maybe G, T, and then A again. And what you would get here is you would get a U, a G, a C, an A, and a T, and a U. And this would be for, and it would always have these specific nucleotides in relation to these ones. So for whenever there's an A, it would always have a U, and whenever there was a C, it would always have a G, and so on. And that's how it would copy sort of the code, and then use it later on in translation, which we'll get into right now. So after it's done, this mRNA would go and it would code for an actual protein. Okay, so now this is the RNA here. And you would have proteins. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but you would have proteins, and for each segment of a code, one amino acid would come on, and then another amino acid and another. And this protein would come off, and it would fold into some sort of protein, and this would be your end result, so an actual protein. And this is also very vital to your living and your cells, because proteins are what make a lot of the processes in your cells happen. So without this, no proteins would be produced, and ATP is involved in this process. Now the next process I want to talk about is myosin and actin making mechanical force. So myosin and actin are proteins in your muscles, and they convert ATP into mechanical force. So how it does this is, well, ATP is used obviously, but what it will happen is ATP will come along, and using its chemical energy, it will cock these myosin heads back. So this is myosin, and this is actin, and it will cock these myosin heads back. So now they're sort of back, and they're sort of holding a lot of energy. And then what the myosin heads will then do is they'll come back with a lot of force. and they'll push off against this actin so that actin goes in this direction and myosin will go in this direction.
People can actually move because of this, and they can do things like run or bike. Now, I hope this brought you some appreciation to ATP and its uses. We'll be going into more depth of these processes in the next couple of videos. Thank you.